the academic year 2021-22. Against the backdrop of the ongoing pandemic, the Bethany family's crucial priority remains every child's wellness and good health. Given our current health situation, the online format of teaching learning is the only safe method. We will continue online classes on MS Teams, keeping in mind the government's directives on what is healthy screen time. The academic program for Standard 1, Standard 2 and Standard 3 will follow the guidelines of the CICSE board. It will include English language, English literature, mathematics, EVS or social studies and science, the second language, the third language and computer skills. To offset these core subjects, the program will include art and craft, which will develop very necessary tactile and visual sensory skills. We share the children's frustration of not being able to participate in energetic outdoor games. However, there will be PE classes online. The PE department will organize online competitions of physical skill as they did last year. In this atmosphere of lockdown, the world is attempting to unite through the wonderful medium of music, which inspires and motivates. Through music, our students are made aware of rhythm and rhyme. Music also develops their memories and improves fluency of language. So music lessons will form an integral part of this schedule. The Bethany management recognizes that the online format of teaching learning may have resulted in a gap in learning. To help our students close this gap, the management has developed a bridge program in line with government directives. This program will identify learning gaps and bridge them. Detailed instructions on the academic program and the co-curricular program will follow this video. These will also be uploaded on EduMerge. The timetables for each class for the online classes as well as the video lessons will also be uploaded on EduMerge. I wish you and our children all the best in the new academic year. In closing, I quote Albert Einstein when he said, "Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow."
Dear parents, teachers, and my young Bethanites, this is indeed an unusual parent-teacher meeting this year, and it comes in this unusual season of isolation and disease and despair all around. I am aware that a lot of us have lost near and dear ones or come to know of so much of sadness, and we are in the hope and the belief that we will come out of this phase very soon. I'm extremely proud of our young children who adapted so well last year to this sudden change in their entire lives, and more so in their school lives with the online teaching. Along with all of its challenges, the kids have stuck with it. And I'm really also proud of all our teachers and staff who adapted. They took their efforts and their time, and we've seen the year through. I also thank our parents who were active partners in the education of this year. And all of us have seen our ups and downs with the system. And we do hope that we will get back to our usual offline education, where it's not just transferring of information, but our children get back with their friends and for real interaction in groups. There have been many challenges that all of you and all of us have faced in our personal, in our workplaces, and also in the school. My belief is that we will come out of this period together very strong. We know that there is a lot of negative news around us. We know there is now a prediction of a possible third wave. We know that they are predicting that that's the youngsters who will be at risk. Notwithstanding all of this bad news, we know that we have hope as our main weapon. I would encourage each parent and each of our teachers to keep hope as a recurring message in our daily interactions with our kids, in our classes when they start, and even when the years to come. To keep hope at the present in front of their eyes, because no other generation has had this much of bad news bombarding them every day. So I think we hold a sacred duty to light the flame of hope every day for our children, that things will get better. And I do believe that we will get better. So I wish our teachers and parents and our children for the new year, along with the management. And, stay safe. Please take your vaccines. Don't believe the bad news about the vaccines. And let's do what is best for our children. And that will remain Bethany's commitment. Take care.
Dear parents, on behalf of everyone from the Bethany family, I greet you and welcome you warmly for this virtual orientation program 2021 and 2022. Now, none of us ever thought that we'll be in a situation such as this, where we are unable to meet face to face and interact person to person at our school premises. You know what I mean. However, with God's help and guidance, life must go on, our school will go on, the teaching and learning will go on, and all for the welfare and benefit of our little ones. So in this orientation program, we have some very helpful and useful inputs and advice. First, from our President of the Bethany Education Board, Dr. Anthony Robert Charles, from our Director, Dr. Akash Rayal, from Mrs. Jennifer Tavares, our Counselor and Special Educator, from Mrs. Anaga Pandit, our Clinical Psychologist and Counselor. So parents, I request you to be present and be patient till the end of the program, as the HOD of the department, Mrs. Shanti Ravindran, will also have some important information and instructions for each one of you. Thank you and God bless.
Hello, parents. I'm Jennifer Tavares, and I am a counselor and a special educator at Pledge Academy. I'm also a volunteer at the LEAP department at Bethany High, Koramangala. I am here to present a short video to you along with Anaga Pandit. The video is about how to parent your child during the second wave of the pandemic.
Hello, parents. I'm Anaga Pandit. I'm the school clinical psychologist and a special educator at LEAP. I will now take you through some slides. We've all seen some very harrowing incidences, experiences, some very tragic losses in the recent past. And there's a lot of despair everywhere. But we assure you that we are in this together. We will now be sharing some tips which will help you to effectively deal with the situation we are in the next academic year. So let us look at the top 5 challenges that are being faced by parents in these days. Keeping children focused on schoolwork, managing screen time and behavior, teaching and monitoring children, managing bedtimes and meal times, and balancing work, home, and parenting duties. So it is becoming a little difficult for us to help children focus on whatever they are required to focus on in terms of studies and online classes. We are also finding it difficult to monitor their homeworks, make sure that they finish all assignments on time. The routines have also become overly flexible, because of so many other reasons, and lack of help, lockdowns have also taken a toll on all our routines. With all of this, managing your children, parenting duties, and your own work, it must be quite overwhelming. But if we stick on to certain things in the second wave, we would be able to deal with the coming school, online classes, and homeworks in a better manner. So, what can we do? We can have broadly a basic routine in place. We know that there are no boundaries, work timings are extending, eating into our family time, and yet, if we have a broad timetable, we should be able to manage all activities relatively easily. If we have basic rules in place, like there's a timetable, there are, like you can see the third point, gadget free zones. Yes, we are very thankful to technology for being able to continue with our work, to continue learning, to be able to connect with our people during these phases. We must also ensure that there are some gadget free times in the house where we can bond with our children and be together, and having contracts with consequences. So, when there are basic rules in place, if the rules are not followed, there must be some consequences that are meted out. So, children understand that this structure is important and it has to be followed. Um, Timetable is essential. We are saying this because children work well when they have a framework around. So, a framework always makes them think, it also helps them to utilize their time in a more engaging manner. Okay, it is also easier for parents to incorporate all different kinds of activities in a day. So the routine must include meal times, nap times, play time, screen time, study time, outdoor play if possible. However, it is, we understand it is not possible to stick to the time as per the clock, but a broad bifurcation, demarcation of different activities will help. And the children must be involved in making this timetable, because that is when they will feel motivated to follow through. Let us also have realistic expectations from our children and ourselves. We are all going through stressful times. Learning is not happening in the conventional manner. We are all learning online. And though the teachers have tried their best to make videos more interactive and keep the motivation levels of the children high, we must also understand that our focus should be on the learning, and the learning of the skills, that assignments and homework should be submitted on time and being prompt and things like that, rather than on academic marks or things like that. So let us be careful that we are not putting more pressure on our children, but also encouraging them to learn in the best possible way. Involving children in household chores is also an excellent thing to teach, taking advantage of this situation. It will help them manage their times. It will take some load off you, and they will also learn some responsibility. Sticking to pre-COVID screen time rules, other than the education-related screen time, the entertainment-related screen time must be limited in whatever way possible. Encouraging physical activities also is equally important, because it is a more positive way of channelizing your children's energies. Things like skipping, cycling, where a safe distance can be maintained from peers, but physical activity can also be done, should be encouraged. Connect with fellow parents, allow children to make video calls, Zoom calls, and interact with peers, because we are going through a time of social deprivation. And lastly, seek help. Anytime you feel that things are not going the way you had imagined them to go, or there are some problems that you are facing, kindly ask help. Please seek out for help, and help will always be given. School counselors are available to speak to your children. I now hand it over to Jennifer ma'am.
Thank you, Anika, for those very valuable points that we should keep in mind. And why are these valuable points important? These valuable points which Anika gave us are important because we are aware that the impact of this pandemic is huge. We never expected the second wave, but here we are facing it, and we have so many stressors around us to deal with. Each of us have our own stressors. Parents will have their work from home, will have their household chores, and little children will be having their own stressors of being kept alone. We've heard that some children have been locked in rooms so that parents could work without their background sound, etc. Remember, parents, that the children have no other space now except their home. And I think most companies have allowed work from home with a rider that allow your children to make noise in the background. It's fine. So keep these points in mind, because children want to be near us. This is their dearest opportunity that they have got to be near us. So let us allow them to play near us, talk to us, etc. Experts tell us that the next pandemic will be related to mental health, and therefore we are here with this short presentation. And the next few slides, we are going to point out certain pointers to you that you could keep in mind as a parent regarding your child's mental health. Physical health symptoms are visible. The child will tell you, my eyes are paining, my back is paining, my head is paining, and so on. And that's visible because the child is telling you those things. But when it comes to mental health, our children do not know how to express and label their emotions. They may appear to be restless and they may appear to misbehave to you, but you need to check whether these are signs of poor mental health. And most importantly, reassure your child frequently that we are in this together. Okay, all of us are going through this. If you remind them this constantly, they would feel that yes, we are all in the same boat and we're all sailing together. Lastly, the last point over here, I think Anaga mentioned this on the previous slide as well, is the importance of seeking professional help and expert advice whenever required. We move on to the red flags. The red flags to look out for. What do we mean by red flags? These are certain behaviors that you might notice in your child, and every behavior should be seen as some information about the child. Don't label them as bad children, but try to find out why are they going through some of these symptoms which are presented on the screen. For infants and toddlers, that is children who are below 4 years, you might find them crying all day, too much of crying, excessive whining, or you might find that they are not crying at all. Okay, both these extremes are a very important red flag to look out for. The second point over here is that the child may express nothing at all. They might have a deadpan expression, or they might be extremely sad. They may express it to you, which is good, but some children may just sit with a deadpan expression, expressionless, and you might notice it and you might wonder what's going on with your child, and that's something that you can report. Less motor activity. Usually children of this age run all around the house. They are very active. They are very curious. If you notice that your child is not indulging in any motor activity at all, please do take the expert help, because these are important symptoms that we are trying to bring across to you. The next 2 points, the lack of social interest. You find that children are not talking to you. They're not engaging with you. They're not engaging with siblings or neighbors. Small children actually would like to say hi to so-and-so and express something to strangers as well. The last point here on this slide is failure to grow and thrive. If you see that your child's weight and height are not increasing, it's a cause for concern. Please do contact your pediatrician. And if your child is not eating well also, please do contact your pediatrician. We now move on to the red flags of the preschooler age. Can we move to the next slide? The preschooler age are children between the age of 4 to 6 years. Some of these children might have frequent unexplained physical symptoms like headaches and stomach aches. You will notice that just before an online class, the child will come and tell you, Mama, my head is paining very badly. And you'll say, okay, don't join the class today. You can take rest. And after about half an hour, 45 minutes, you might notice the child's headache is gone and they're quietly playing somewhere. Okay, so the avoidance of attending an online class must be looked into. And was the headache or any other symptom related to the online class or related to something else? The child might also complain that they're always tired. I'm tired, Mama. I'm tired, Dada. They might be saying this to you all repeatedly. And you may be aware that they are well nourished because you are giving them all their 3 meals. And so you might wonder, why are they tired all the time? The next point is overactivity or excessive restlessness. The previous slide I told you it's good for children to be active, but hyperactivity where they are just running around the house, they are unmanageable, they're difficult to control. Well, these are unusual behaviors in a child. Frequent sadness. Frequent sadness, all children, we want all children to be happy. That's our goal. We want them to always be healthy and happy. If a child is frequently sad, they may talk to you about death, worrying about you dying, worrying about somebody in the neighborhood dying. Address it. Find out why they are sad. But frequent sadness and a child not being able to come out of it is a cause for concern. Low tolerance for frustration and irritability, if I may club those 2 points, that is where children have a low threshold to tolerate anything that's unpleasant or stressful in their life. You might just simply tell them that I'm going to be serving lunch half an hour late today, and they might throw a big tantrum. Tantrums at this age are not usual, they're not normal. Below 4 years, it's fine. But if the child throws excessive tantrums throughout the day, you find the child throwing tantrums for no rhyme or reason, then it is a cause of concern. And if your child is irritable, keeps telling you that I don't want this, I don't like that, very, very angry with you all the time, then that's another symptom. The last point here, which holds good for anyone, okay, is the lack of pleasure in previously enjoyed activities. If a child displays lack of pleasure in previously enjoyed activities like cycling, skipping, coloring, and so on for a long period of time, then please do get in touch with us. Very importantly, before I go into the symptoms for a school-age children, these symptoms should not be something that happens as a one-off. The key words that you have to read here are frequent. That means something which is happening over the last 2 or 3 months. Then you have to take note of it. Some of the behavioral red flags for school-age children, those are children who are 6 years up to 11 years. These are some of the symptoms that you might find in children of this age. They again might have frequent unexplained headaches and stomach pain, like I explained to you in the previous slide, and they might have a significant weight gain or loss. So keep track on what they're eating, that they're eating healthy, not junk food. Too much of junk food masks the symptoms of depression and so on, because it gives them some kind of energy for that day, and therefore give them good, healthy, nutritious food. You'll find that these children are always sad, always having a feeling of hopelessness, that they give up very easily. They cry, they feel empty, and they keep going to corners of the house and just sitting all alone. Feelings of being bad or stupid. The child might come and tell you, I am stupid, I am always doing things wrong. I am bad. So you don't hear the child talking about the other end of the spectrum. Okay, all of us can feel bad, but we must also feel good. All of us can feel stupid and lazy, but we must also feel active and ready to face on our challenges. So if you're seeing too much on one side of the spectrum, then it is important to address it. Changes in sleep patterns and problems with sleeping. We are seeing this happen with a lot of school-age children because of the excessive gadget time, perhaps, and therefore, as Anaga already told us about addressing the gadget time, you'll also find that they're having a lot of insomnia. It's okay, allow them to drop off to sleep whenever they do, and allow them to have that extended sleep time. But if they're not getting sleep at all, then please contact any expert that you know of. Even if you can't contact the school counselors for some reason, please get in touch with somebody so that they will take care. We move on to the next slide, which is continuing with the symptoms for school-age children. An important point here is unprovoked anger or aggression. The textbooks tell us that children express depression through unprovoked anger or any kind of aggression. So if you have your child flying off the handle for every small reason in the house, or even if there is no reason, it's a very big cause of concern. Please do not ignore anger and aggression at this school age of your child. Refusal or reluctance to attend school or skipping school. I've already explained that part to you. The child may not want to come to school because they have to sit, they have to listen, they have to pay attention, and all these might be very difficult for the child. You'll find your child dropping out of favorite activities that they were doing, indoor activities mostly right now, like coloring and talking to someone, etc. Withdrawal and little interest in playing with others. If you've noticed your child was playing with a sibling, but now suddenly has stopped doing that, then you need to look into why each sibling has stopped playing with each other and have a chat with them about it. The last important point is running away. We've had a number of children running away during the pandemic, not from Bethany, but from many other schools. We've had, right from the start of the pandemic last year, children running away because they could not bear to be locked in. So parents, what we are trying to tell you is that your children are indoors. This is something that we never expected would happen to them. And if you and I are having a difficulty doing it, imagine what they might be feeling. This was their time for play. This was their time to be out. And unfortunately, they are locked in. If your children are displaying any of these symptoms, do get in touch with our school counselors. We have their contact details here for you. For pre-primary Koramangala, we have Mrs. Candida De Silva. For primary Koramangala and BGS 1 and 2, we have Miss Ida Mercy Magdalene. And for the Sarjapur branch, we have Manisha Matta. We have their contacts given over here, their email addresses, and you might want to note them down so that you can get in touch with them. Okay, so parents, we've come to the end of the presentation. And we just, from both of us, we have a small piece of advice. Don't worry that children never listen to you. However, worry that they are always watching you. Children are watching how you and I absorb the pandemic through our words, through our actions and feelings. An anxious parent may create an anxious child. So therefore, be alert that your child is watching you, and how you handle yourself is perhaps the most important part of going through the second wave.
Thank you, parents. Stay safe. May God bless.
Good morning, parents, and welcome to this online orientation. It's funny not being able to see you and talk to you, but I guess that's how it's going to be. And if it's a challenge for me talking to you in this fashion, you can imagine how difficult it's been for the teachers to teach online. All these years, they've just been interacting and having that nice mix of getting questions from the students and talking to them. And I think this year is going to be another year of online teaching and learning. I thank you all for supporting us. We got so many wonderful letters from you all appreciating the teachers. I really do thank you for that, because that is such an encouragement for the staff and the teachers. You know, it's so easy to criticize and to say they didn't do this or they didn't do that, but most of you all have been very kind and appreciative, and I thank you on behalf of our entire teaching staff, all our HODs, right from the BPC and the pre-primary going up to the junior college. I'm just going to leave you with a few thoughts. First and foremost, I want to tell you, we were fortunate that we were able to pay all our staff their salaries last year. Every one of them, from the drivers and the helpers, canteen staff, and our teachers, the admin staff, everybody got their salaries. Thanks to you, most of you who were able to pay their fees. And this year too, I'm going to request you, if you can pay the fees, we would really appreciate it. If there is a genuine problem, do contact Nigel or send us an email, and we'll be happy to help. But it's with the fees that we can pay our staff. We put all our capital expenditure on hold. We wanted to revamp the basketball court in the main school, do up the canteen, do other things in the other institutions, but we kept all that on hold because we said people are more important than the building and the infra, and that's what we believe in Bethany. So parents, if you could pay your fees and pay on time, we would really appreciate that. I also want to tell you that there were so many of you, even though the two of you who were working, one of you would adjust and stay back and help the little ones, especially the small ones in the pre-primary department and the primary department. And I guarantee you that this year too, the teachers are working hard so that in June, when school starts, they will have something rich and educative even for the smallies. I know that is such a challenge, but I give you my word that they are working hard on it to make it as interesting a year as possible. So parents, please stay safe, look after your children, and we await for that day when they come back to school where we can all celebrate together. I miss those fist bumps, and I miss seeing the children. The building is a stone cold building without the little ones running around. So we just wait for those days when they can come back to school. But till that time, I pray that you and your children will stay safe, and I promise you that we will do our best to keep this going and keep the children occupied with not only their studies, but with all the little online activities that are planned for them. And I encourage you to let them take part. I want to leave you with one last thought, and that is, I'm going to request you all to be honest and teach your children to be honest. Unfortunately, I've heard in some of the other schools, children resorted to unfair means when it came to doing tests and exams. Just tell them, if they have God on their side, if they work hard, and if they are honest, they will do well finally in life. After all, this is an education for life. It's not just going from one class to the next. So when it comes to tests and exams and taking those papers, let them do it seriously and in all honesty. And I know you parents will support us on that front too. Thank you once again for listening to me, and God bless you all. Look forward to seeing you soon.